Happy to be joined by UFC lightweight contender Benoit Saint Denis, who headlines ADXC 4 when he takes on Mark Diakiese in Paris. Benoit, how is it going?
I'm doing fine. I'm very excited for the Diakiese. It's a great grappling event, so let's go.
Now, originally, we thought you were going to fight Arman Tsarukyan. He mentioned it in the podcast with Michael Bisping, and suddenly we see a change in opponent. What happened exactly?
I don't know. I think he's. I don't know exactly, but I suppose he's gonna be the replacement for Dustin or Makhachev if they fight because he's contender number one. So he made a mistake by announcing to everybody that he's able to fight me. I don't know why he did that because I think he already knew if he was supposed to be replacement or not, or if he's booked on any kind of UFC fight or something like that. So yeah, the UFC didn't give him the permit to do the fight, but we will face each other. I do believe he's young, so am I, and I think we will face each other in the future. I have nothing but respect for him. Just um, what I think is he made a mistake by calling me and not having any rights to do it. But don't worry, we will face. I know it will happen some days.
Yeah, and were you disappointed? Because, like you said, this is someone who's, lightweight contender like yourself, a fight that could very well happen soon in MMA. So, were you disappointed when it wasn't him?
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about it is it was very exciting at the moment. So I was very excited and happy to have this fight, huge grappling fight, very good opposition. I still have a very tough and good opposition in the person of Mark Diakiese, but Arman Tsarukyan was very exciting and yeah, he had no rights to call this fight. So yeah, I was disappointed because there was a lack of communication from him with us UFC staff or with his staff, I don't know, but yeah, it was an exciting fight on paper. So yeah, he's young in the division. I think we will face anyways. In MMA will be great. Will be even better in MMA, but it will happen someday.
Yeah, and you get Mark Diakiese, who started out his MMA career, his UFC career as a striker, and then he's shown off a lot of his grappling recently. So, what do you think of Mark Diakiese's grappling?
Yeah, I believe he fell in love with the process, with another discipline of the mixed martial art, which is the grappling and the wrestling part. He's a good wrestler. He's an athlete. He's in the UFC since a long time, so it will be a tough opposition. But I'm more than ready, and yeah, let's see who is gonna win and who is gonna put pressure. 18th of May.
And have you ever been part of this type of grappling match before, or in general, have you done a lot of grappling matches throughout your career?
No, not in an octagon. Not in the proposition Adixe is giving us, which is very exciting. It's you will have a lot of cage control. You will have a lot of more aggressive grappling style approach with judging not being only on points and on tactics, but on the engagement of the fighters. So it's an exciting way to put things on the table and to have a great show and yeah to have some times to prepare on one specific part of the mixed martial art career.
And yeah, because it's almost like a fight without strikes, right? In a way.
Yeah, it's in an octagon. Just the rounds are a little bit how can I call it? they don't last as long as in MMA. It's a 3 minutes round, so it's encouraging to be more aggressive during the grappling exchange and to search more for dominance and submissions and for wrestling heavy approach. So it's it's an exciting way of putting grappling in an octagon. So yeah, there are some similarities.
For sure. And let's talk a little bit about your MMA career. Obviously, the last time we saw you compete was UFC 299. You came out with a statement after the fight that you had staph infection. I think everyone kind of saw it on your forehead. I know your manager, of course, he was going to say that it's nothing because he wants the fight to stay on and you wanted to as well. Looking back, do you have any regret that you took the fight?
It's very difficult. Um, it's really difficult to say anything about it because yeah, you are always the bad guy when you are having excuses. So I choose to fight. So this loss is entirely on me. I fight one of the best guy of the world. If I sucked, I could be in a good shape that day. That maybe the staph infection will not affect me as much because of the antibiotics I took during the week. I just follow the motto of my regiment, who does wins. But the other part of this motto is who loses pays. So it's never. Maybe I should. It's a lot of expense. Now I know that with the difficulties and the level of competition I'm in right now, I cannot afford myself to fight diminish. So it's something that is very difficult for fighters to say no to a fight. You have trained, for 3 months, very hard for an opponent, huge opportunity. You feel all the love and the encouragement of your country, of your fans. They are all behind you. They are taking time off of their work, of their week, to see you fight, to see you perform. So yeah, it's difficult to know when to say no to a fight, and when obviously if you cannot fight for any functional problems like a broken bone, or if you don't have any equilibrium on one leg because of a problem on an ankle, or your fist is already broken. This is very valuable reason where you cannot take a choice. But when with sickness, you never know. Maybe 3 days later, I was starting to feel a bit better, and then I was down again, and I took antibiotics again. I think the accumulation of the weight cut and of the process was difficult, but it's always difficult. It's not a it was a very tough situation, and I learned a lot of it. But I believe in the future. If I have any deep doubt, I will have to reconsider fighting, because you lose a lot more of a loss than of of a reconduction of a fight, or of taking time off and fighting back again a bit later. So yeah, always, it's always a bet in this situation, and I hope I will not leave it again, but maybe it's life, it's part of life. So it is how it is.
Yeah. And when did you exactly get the staph infection?
I think it's when I was coming back from Bulgaria, so maybe the first sign where I was 10, 12 days before the fight, I believe. Um, and then I didn't took antibiotics. I should have taken them at this time, because I thought it was only, a bad cut or something like this. It's um, it's the first time I have it on the head, so I didn't know it was this. And then it got a lot worse in 3 days. Yeah, it was already too late to counterattack the problem very efficiently. So yeah, Wood has wins, and this time it didn't pay. It didn't pay it for me.
And what were the conversations like with your manager, with your team, with the UFC? Were you trying to hide it and not let people know so they don't pull you out of the fight? What was fight week like for you? Because it must have been very stressful.
Yeah, it was very stressful. So yeah, of course you want to hide it because you are treating it. So if you take antibiotics, you know that the day of the fight, um, you should at least not be contagious anymore because you will start to have the effect of the antibiotics. The problem is you get very tired from this, and it affects a lot your weight cut and the way, I don't know how you call this organ, but which is responsible for all the drinking and everything, um, which is the first part of your body that is getting worse if you have a bad weight cut or if you have any problems with hydration. So yeah, I had this rhabdomyolysis, I think it's the name, rhabdomyolysis problem after the fight because I was dry. Yeah, because combination of weight cut and antibiotics is not good. But now it's in the past, and I'm looking on having a great performance again, train hard, getting better, and I cannot wait to show my skills in full form. It's been a learning experience as well. Maybe the training camp was a bit too harsh, too long, because you don't get a staph infection um, if you take a little bit more care of your body. Maybe you don't need to grind this hard during training camp and to put your body in in as much stress as I have during this camp, especially outside of your country. So a lot of learning experience as well. Um, yeah, it's a long journey to become a champion, and I'm working on that. I'm working hard on that, and I cannot wait to have an opportunity to fight and to show the world uh, um, a very healthy and performance machine that I can be uh, when I'm in shape. And yeah, I cannot wait having this opportunity again. But yeah, heads off to Poirier. He did great, and I hope he wins against Makhachev. It's a huge fight for him. Um, it's a lightweight title, which is, in my opinion, one of the most competitive one. So let's go. Let's see this fight. I cannot wait to see this fight as well.
I'll ask you about that in a second, but you did perform well. I mean, you won round one on all three judges' scorecards. You were able to show off some of your grappling. But did your game plan change because of the way you physically felt, or is this kind of what you were trying to do against Dustin? Pressure him with strikes, mix in the grappling as well, or did something change because of the way you were feeling physically in terms of your game plan?
To be honest, pressure was the game plan. So it's difficult when you have been training a whole training camp on a game plan to change everything. Uh, to change everything is difficult, but yeah, my body was clearly broken. Even during the warm up, I had to do some apnea exercise because the warm up was too difficult for me. So I was starting to do a lot of respiration methodology to try to have as much energy as I can and to not getting tired during warm up. So this is where when I knew it was going to be fucked up, and especially when I had him against the cage, he is right when he says I never took him down. I had absolutely no energy. I could not. Um, I could not take his body and put him down. I was lucky he was trying to guillotine me because I had not enough energy to take him down. It was impossible for me to even when I had a good grip. A couple of times I had a good grip on him, good position, but wrestling was way too tiring for me. So I tried to lay as much as I could on him to to try to tiring him and to put him in the same shape I was in, but it was difficult. And also, yeah, I wasn't there. I wasn't there to be honest. So yeah, it's not good to fight when you are not thinking about the present, but about the future. I was not living the moment. I was always thinking, okay, how can I do to expense as less energy as possible. Um, Usually, when I'm in a grappling phase, I'm trying to push and to look for the finish for openings. But this time, I was just looking to stay on him, which is horrible. Which is horrible because when you do that, it's because you are not in shape, you are tired. If you just want to lay on somebody and try to gain time like this, yeah, it's that your cardio is not there and your mind is not there, and also yeah, my it was difficult to be concentrate because yeah, I was just broken. I could not see any punch. I was, yeah, tough fight, but tough pill to swallow. But no, I have to move on. You cannot uh, I should not have fought, but I did it. I'm taking full responsibility for that, and he beat me fair and square. So now I have to move on and to look for the future and to gain the respect and the opportunity to fight such a guy again, because this is the type of competition I love and I want to face again. So I'm just looking now for the future, for uh, let's go and let's prepare the next step.
And yeah, I don't think your stock dropped that much because you are a very exciting fighter. You've had great performances, and like I said, I know the fight didn't go your way, but you were able to win the round against him. Now, Dan Hooker did an interview on the MMA Hour, and he mentioned that there was discussion of you fighting him in Paris in September. Is there any truth to that? And is he an opponent you would be interested in for your next fight?
Yeah, why not? Dan Hooker is a tough fighter. He's a good fighter. So yeah, I'm looking to fight anybody in the top 15, as much as possible. I would like to face somebody with the best number possible, next to his name. Um, so if it's Dan Hooker, it's Dan Hooker. I will love it. But yeah, maybe number 7, maybe number 6, maybe number 5. Like you said, it was an exciting fight with Dustin. Um, didn't went my way. I made way too much mistake against a world class opponent. But no, I need to bounce back, and I want to show that I'm here for a reason, and I'm looking at uh, at the future with enthusiasm, and I cannot wait to have the name of my next opponent. If it's in Paris, it will be great. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So September, good? Are you good waiting until September? Because it kind of makes perfect sense, right? I mean, I was there in Paris last time. The crowd were so loud for you. So I can imagine that timeline wise, September. I mean, they didn't really officially announce September Paris, but that's usually the time. Is that a good timing for you to come back?
I want to fight as much as possible, though I would have loved to be on the London card as well, but the UFC um, has to make their choice. It's a spectacle, we are fighters. There is ranking. It's a sport, but it's also a spectacle, and people in Paris, they will love that, and they deserve to have their French fighters as much as possible on the card. So yeah, it makes sense.
So did the UFC come to you with Dan Hooker, or you haven't really discussed who's next yet?
No, my manager Guillaume Pelletier is doing a great work. I'm letting him do all the work. He's the one uh, discussing with the UFC, and I'm very happy to work with both, with the UFC and with my manager. And I let them do the work. I do my work as an athlete. I try to go inside the octagon and to put war anytime I'm in. And those guys are very good in putting on great fights, and as it's the way it works for me, it works perfectly. So I'm very thankful for the UFC, for the matchmaking, and for Guillaume Pelletier, my manager, to do his work.
And you talked about war. Dan Hooker loves war as well. So there are recent images of his last fight, and he's covered in blood and whatnot. I think this would be a great fight. But what do you think of Dan Hooker as an opponent? If he was your next opponent, what do you think of Dan Hooker?
I think he's a great opponent. He's a tough fighter. He has been there since a long time, fighting the best guys. Uh, he wants as much as I do. He wants to climb his way the rankings. It's tough. It's tough opposition when you are in the top 15 of the lightweight division. You have a lot of exciting fights, and of course some fights are more exciting than others. But Danuka is a good fellow, and I would like, yeah, to have some good exchange with him in an octagon would be great. I believe he's the kind of guy you don't need to do too much talking. You will have a good fight anyway.
And I know you're hard on yourself, but was there anything positive you took out of that Dustin Poirier fight? Being in there with a guy who's a former interim champion. I know you felt like you weren't yourself physically, but is there anything positive you can take from that performance in terms of yourself?
It's very frustrating, it's difficult. Yeah, I think the only positive stuff is that I'm the only one on my coaches that know in which shape and in which form I was that night. So the way I did perform that night in those conditions is not that bad. So I was able to put some stuff in place. Uh, it's just a very good life lesson, and yeah, it's part of life. You have up and downs. We are only humans, but we are all fighting to do our best, and I'm very grateful for that, and I'm enjoying my time in the octagon anyway. So yeah, it's always enjoyable to be against a top opponent like that, and I wish it will happen as soon as possible again.
Are you surprised that he got the title shot?
No, not at all, not at all. It's all a question of calendars. If you look at who is booked and who is not, and who has faced who, um, and the age and the placement of this guy, the grind. It's not something undeserved. A lot of guys deserved the title shot, but this time it was him. He did great, so well deserved. And yeah, I will be looking this fight very closely, and I hope I'm working to climb my way to the top to face one of those two guys, and it's gonna be a great fight, I do believe.
You said you hope he can get it done. Do you think he can beat Islam?
Yeah, he's precise, he's well-rounded, he's composed. He is able to weather the storm. A lot of experience, tough guy. Yeah, I mean, nobody can give Poirier no chance at all at winning any fights in the lightweight division. Of course, Makhachev is well-rounded. He will be well prepared. He has been. I do know what term of game plan Makhachev is gonna have against Poirier. It's very obvious. He will follow. He will try to follow his cousin's steps or Charles Oliveira's steps. Um, because it seems to be the easiest path to a victory against Poirier. But Poirier will work on that as well, and he's also well-rounded, and it will be a great fight. But he can't get it down. But of course, the favorite is the champion.
Do you think maybe a guillotine? He tried it against you a couple of times. What do you think of his guillotine?
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It's just um, some guys with a very high level defense. It's difficult to end a fight on them with this type of technique. Um, yeah, I do believe I'm part of them, and I don't know for Makachev, but I think it's always a good option because it's a move he's good at. It just with the kind of tiredness it can brings to you, it can bring to you in the type of position you can end up being in if you miss the attempt. It's dangerous as well. It's a risky move. It's not the riskiest move, but it can be a move where you will start the grappling exchange in a close guard or in half guard or some stuff like this if you don't use it perfectly. So which happened a lot in our fight. So yeah, risky move against Makachev, but who does wins? Like I said.
Yeah, and Benoit, I've taken up a lot of your time, so I appreciate it. Just two more things. What did you think of Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje, the last second knockout? What did you think of that?
Um, it was a great fight, but I believe Max Holloway fought his fight, and Justin Gaethje didn't manage to cover the distance. The guy that won that fight was Max Holloway because he was able to put on his fight that night, and this is why he won the fight. And he's a very tough guy. Both of those guys are tough, and yeah, it was a great spectacle. I would have or love to see Gaethje shoot one or two takedown attempts during the fight to try to mix it up a little bit more. But yeah, it was a great fight, and Max Holloway managed to play it at a distance and at a rhythm that was perfect for him, and it worked well for him.
Yeah, and one final one. We talked about Dan Hooker because he mentioned your name, but you have kind of an ideal situation. I know you want the highest ranked possible, highest ranked fighter possible, but is there kind of like a dream scenario, a perfect opponent, somebody that you'd love to fight?
Yeah, I would love to fight the guy that was wanting to fight me in Paris. Will be great. It will, yeah, I would love to face Arman Tsarukyan. It will be a great fight. He's obviously he's a contender number one, but Makhachev is not the most active champion, so maybe I don't know if he will fight. I don't know if he will still be champion, but if he still is a champion, I think he will take some time off. A lot of stuff can happen in this division, so let's see what happens. But of course, the highest and the guys that can put me on the bet line as down as up as possible is what I would love to. So I think a fight against Arman Tsarukyan would be perfect. But I'm not the matchmaker of the UFC. They will do their job. They are very, very, very good at it, and they are giving us the joy of having huge spectacles every weekend.
How about Justin Gaethje?
Would be great as well. Would be great.
Yeah, a lot of exciting names at lightweight. Well, Benoit, merci beaucoup for your time. Thank you so much. Best of luck May 18 in the grappling match, and looking forward to see what's next for you in the octagon.
Merci, thank you very much.